initial reaction to the alleged killing of George Floyd?
When I heard about the killings of Floyd, I was outraged, I was upset. It reminded me again of Rodney King in the 1990s again. So it's been going on for years, and hopefully we're gonna have to do something now about it and really make them feel our voice.
If I say this shit out loud, they might get mad. I might not make it out of here, but guess what? He told me to keep it $1 billion, and I'm gonna keep it $1 trillion. Man, I was so hot because I was hot the way we reacted. Because I feel like, okay, we smarter than that. Y'all gonna go ride and woo and take what you could take. Cause I was pissed off cause they came to my neighborhood and my PA played me and took my money. They stole from me cause they felt like my business was in the Beverly Hills area. I said, damn, man. And they said they had a sign on my bank said everything closed and say, eat the rich. That was some bullshit. We supposed to have made some negotiations or something. We supposed to hit somebody on the phone and said, look, if y'all don't do this or do this and do this, look, man, we're gonna do this. We should have gave them more time than that. But you gotta think about it. Because the man not gonna have the man knee on the man neck for no reason, right? I looked at the videotape, cause if you check my record, I got over 50 something infractions. I'm gonna tell you, the police, when they give me action, I give it back. So my man laying on the ground and he ain't damn moving, and he ain't busting no moves. He pissed me off. He pissed me off because I felt like, bro, you black, bro. Fuck that gun, get the fuck up. If you can't breathe, you said you can't breathe, get your ass up off the fucking ground. Ain't no police gonna hold me down. Ain't no police, I promise you on my life. They'll tell you I'm from Durham, North Carolina. It take when they pull me over, it be 5, 6, 7, 8 police cars. I promise you, and it take 5, 6, 7, 8 on to get me down, and I still be cold cars talking shit. So I don't want to hear that lay down. We don't lay down. It was something wrong with that man. And it was something wrong with the man that had the foot on his neck. How you know somebody ain't tell that man, look, bro, we're gonna kill your whole family, bro, unless you make this happen, bro. Y'all seen it in the movies. Y'all like it's a game. This shit ain't no goddamn game. Huh? Yeah, and I was taking up for the police. Yeah, and I was talking shit about yeah, and I don't care about yeah, and I don't yeah, and what, yeah. And you gonna yeah, what to me? Nah, yeah. So I'm trying to tell you, like, man, you gotta look at both sides of the damn thing, man. Like look out the window, man. You gotta look out the window and look in the window. Nah, man, fuck that, man. I'm taking up for both of them, man. Like, straight up, man, cause them two people got into some shit, and the partners around them, they won't train. They supposed to told, you seen it on training day when the cop get out of line. When the cop get out of the line, the partner's supposed to grab him by the neck and pull him up by his spine. Partner, you're tripping. But nah, he ain't had it there. Cause guess what? Man, he had his foot, his bruh, if you got your knee on a lion neck, you got your knee on the bare neck. Hey, bruh, I got my knee on the bare neck. How the hell I'm gonna let it up? If I let my knee up, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? He's scared as fuck. Y'all don't know what's going on. That man ain't gonna tell it. Somebody could have sent the CIA, some boy, one of them deep service. Boy, I could tell y'all some shit, woo. Y'all better get y'all a goddamn book, but y'all better start reading, bro. Excuse my language, but bruh, I was pissed off when I heard that shit. And God bless and rest in peace to George Floyd and whoever else, cause George Floyd ain't the first person that been killed. Nah, bro, I been, man, and bro, fuck that, and I've been riding, and the reason why I ain't go outside and ride, and bro, the reason why I'm sitting out my mouth saying Trump 220, cause guess what? When I was fighting for y'all, when y'all was sitting in school, straightening shit, and I was slapping the shit out of people, and checking people, and running shit, and telling y'all, nah, fuck that, it's time to go to war, and I was out there hustling, and on the block, and going to jail and shit, fuck Biden. 1994, that's the only thing I go. Yeah, go to prison, that's what the fuck happened. So I'm trying to tell y'all, I ain't with that goddamn capping. Bring that bullshit down my goddamn line.
Damn, another one. They killed another one of us, you know? And why is it still okay? Why does it keep happening, you know? Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's sad. My heartfelt for his family. I was pretty surprised, actually. I didn't want to watch the video initially, but when I did, I couldn't believe how many people just stood there. I mean, I would have caught a case tackling one of those officers. I mean, as a woman, like, I don't care. I don't condone wrong. I couldn't sit there and just watch. So fear is a hell of a drug, because I don't see how people just stood there. I just don't. I don't care if you're the police, you're still human. So they could have been stopped.
We have to do better. We really have to do better. Yeah. I was embarrassed of our country. Almost embarrassed to be white, actually.
You know, it's hard to say things like this, but the reality of America, we've been dealing with murders of, unjust murders of blacks for years. That's just the society that we live in. So when I first actually saw it, because I saw the video of it, I had to start looking for it, because I was like, what are they not telling me? That's what it was. It was like, I saw what they were showing on social media, and I was like, well, there's another video. There's something else that's going on. And everything that I've heard about, you know, the prior situations, about his relationship with the man that killed him, you know, he had a prior relationship with the officer who actually was on his neck, you know. They knew each other from the past. They worked together as well. To know these things, it's learning these things after, when I first found out, it changed my view of things. But it's been this way since Emmett Till. Emmett Till, you know, he was murdered unjustly, young black man, you know, because he supposedly he looked at somebody the wrong way, and they didn't like the way he looked at them. So he ended up dying. He ended up being murdered and tortured to death. So this is just something that happens in America. Sandra Bland is another one. She died, and she had a prior relationship with the officers who murdered her as well. So when I first initially heard of the George Floyd situation, it just hit me in the face like another one. This is just another one. Just another one. What's going on in America.
Wow. Actually, watching television at the time that it happened, I was totally devastated. I was outraged. This has been going on for far too long. And as I said, we have to police the police, because they don't follow their own rules, but they want us to follow them. And it's so unjust and unfair that it works out like that. And how do they get away with killing someone? Because if we were to do it, we'd been locked up under the jailhouse. So it's not fair. It felt like a cold day. Just, there was a loss. There was a big hole when that happened. Just to see it happen right and unfold in front of your very eyes.
I couldn't believe it. I was shocked to see it. And then the more you heard about it, like maybe you heard about it, but you didn't see the video, or you saw part of the video, but then when you see the whole video, like the more you find out about it, the more heartbreaking it is. But more heartbreaking than that, George Floyd, for me, that did not break my heart as much as the killing of Breonna Taylor, because she was asleep in her home. She was an EMT, and she was shot and didn't even get to see an EMT. She didn't get to go in a paramedic. You know, the ambulance did not pick her up from her house. And she didn't get to go to the hospital. And for me, that was more heartbreaking.
My initial reaction, killing of George Floyd, wow, I mean, this was something like we never really seen before. Obviously, we've seen the abuse of police, and this goes back centuries, of course, to the beginning of time and the beginning of law enforcement, and the rule of the church before that, and the rule of kings and queens, and, you know, it goes back to the end of time. But, you know, in modern day, you know, obviously it brought up things like Rodney King, just blatant disregard, and then to where we see police get off scot-free 9 out of 10 times. And, you know, we have seen this happen over the years, but on a level like this, with the actual killing, when it just, physically didn't need to happen. You know, you could look into more details, like what was this guy, you know, affected in any way? Was he susceptible to anything? And you know, it's an ongoing investigation. So, but it's pretty clear for everybody to see that the excessive force was disgusting, appalling, and that the man was essentially allegedly murdered before multiple millions of people. So it was disgusting on a level like we've never seen before. And you know, I feel like the justice still hasn't been brought, and will it? You know, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they're gonna wait for things to cool down and let him off like they did with Rodney King, you know, which started the other riots in LA years ago. And you know, it still wasn't to this scale, and now we have a man dead. You know, it was essentially a snuff film seen by millions. You know, I don't know the exact count, but I assume hundreds of millions, and caused an uproar like never before. So my initial reaction was disgust, and I was appalled, and it's just like, you know, how can this continue to happen? And then there's the, you know, the fact that it continuously happens to black people, and you know, it shows us, you know, how much further we have to go. It's like we've come a long way in a lot of aspects, but we still have so far to go that it's really insane. And this kind of brought it to the forefront for America and the whole world reacted. So, of course, you know, it was emotional and it was disturbing to see anyone die, but someone like that at the hands of law enforcement when it just didn't need to happen, it was ultimately disgusting and appalling. And you know, that's one of the reasons we're doing a documentary like this right now and a song like this, because it's essential, it's crucial that we speak up, and you know, we don't let things like this happen, because authority corrupts. They say absolute authority corrupts absolutely. So it's something that we gotta really keep in check. We the people gotta keep in check. And it was said that freedom is eternal vigilance. So we always have to be vigilant and mindful, and we have to put ourselves in the position that, you know, this could have been me. This could have been my father, my mother, my lover, my brother, my best friend. It could have been any of us, let alone if you're black or a minority. You know, the police seem to be, you know, obviously certain people in this country and other countries as well have certain agendas and certain xenophobias and certain racisms and prejudices and biases, and are fully ready to act upon those things. And when they're protected by the law because they have a little badge or a little piece of paper, you know, it's outright disgusting, and it goes against everything we're supposed to stand for when we talk about protect and serve, and when we talk about being a free country and the Constitution and everything else like that. So it was beyond disturbing.
Did you witness or were you part of any George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, or Black Lives Matter protests?
I was not. I stayed home. I didn't participate. I was just watching the news.
I was not a part of the protest for specific reasons. Safety. Did I believe in what they were doing and trying to make a change? The overall change, yes, I do believe in that. But how they went about it, those ways are not my ways.
Yeah, only one, but it was a peaceful protest.
Yes, I do plead the fifth on that question right there.
Yes, I witnessed protests, but because of that time of where we were in the pandemic, I did not go out and protest because I felt I was safer being isolated. But I did participate by posting stuff online, you know, calling politicians and, you know, doing that protesting from a distance.
Oh gosh, no, I was not. I was one of the Twitter bullies. I was on Facebook. I was using social media to speak out, post pictures, post data, to post the statistics, and kind of educate from behind the scenes. I didn't feel that being out in the street with the COVID-19 was really a productive way in this time to handle that matter.
I spoke about how I saw over probably 10 different protests and rallies and riots and lootings going on in my Los Angeles area within the span of a couple days. One day I was in the crowd at a protest, and it seemed very, very peaceful to me and seemed very eclectic, and just people were spreading the message. They weren't even yelling that loud. It wasn't even nothing really crazy in my eyes. And as I walked away, went home, 10 minutes later, I found out that they burnt down cop cars and that, you know, stuff went ham. So I was involved and I did witness several of them, yes.
Do you think protests are effective? If so, what kind of protests are most effective?
I think protests are effective, but to a certain extent, we don't need to go out and destroy our community to get our voice heard. Like we need our community, so that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, they're effective. Them young people, bruh. Man, I ride for anybody standing up for anything of their own, you know what I'm saying? I like that. I like that. Stand up for yeah. What you believe in, stand up for it. Yeah, it was effective. Yeah, it was effective. It's effective. It's effective, but the wrong effect. I ain't gonna drown y'all long right there. Yeah, my leg ticking. Yeah, put your leg on my neck. On my mama, on my life.
At this point, protests seem redundant, I guess, in the sense that we just keep doing it and there's not much change. Everything's just kind of a play on emotion. I don't know if we really want change or we just like to talk about it, so or want to feel a part of something. You know, we yell until the next devastating thing happens and then we move on to that. So I don't know how effective they are. I know initially when you go back to like civil rights movement, things like that, people are a little bit more united. And I'm talking about the Black community when I say people, because obviously they were fighting for something. It's the reason we all can sit here today and, you know, solidarity and, you know, not look at each other with bias, but somewhere along the line, something changed, and it's just a bunch of hoopla, so to speak.
I do believe in protests, and peaceful protests are important, but you also have to have action and movement behind a protest. It just can't be aimlessly gathering, and yeah, it has to be with a purpose, a motive. It has to have this whole detail-orientated, well put together, well-oiled machine that's going to actually make a change. So if that happens and all of those elements are aligned, I do believe in it.
Yeah, I think that it's clear that protests are effective, but mostly if they're nonviolent and peaceful. It's really hard not to ostracize the other if you're not communicating in a way that could possibly be heard.
Get to the source of the problem. We don't need any more protests.
Do I think protests are effective? Yes, I do. I think they're very effective because one sound, one voice, and if everyone could come together and make that one voice, that one sound together, then it can be heard as well as pen and paper, petitions, everyone getting together, signing the petitions. So yeah, protests by petition or out there actually physical footwork petition, protests, yeah, it's really efficient and can work.
Because we're a country for the people and by the people, the most effective protest we have is our vote. Who we vote for and why we vote for them and what we ask them to do once they're in office is our most important protest.
That's a hard question. I want to be the person to say peaceful protest is the way to go, but I also have seen peaceful protests come and go. I want to be like, oh, the riots is what really got people's attention. And I really kind of feel like if it wasn't for the riots, if it wasn't for people breaking in stores, if it wasn't for people really showing their butt during this time, would we really have been heard, or would this have been just another protest that came and went? I think that it was necessary. I think any form of getting your voice heard is necessary. Anything that needs to be spoken on and for you to speak up and speak out, I grant anybody to do it at any time, anywhere, anyhow they can.
Okay, that's another big question. I'm going to try to speed these up a little bit, but protests can be effective. They're not always effective. I won't have time to really get into the sincerity and sophistication of these questions in this interview. I'll definitely be doing works on these in the future. Hopefully the other participants in this documentary came with some key essentials to cover these topics as well. But in the past, protests have certainly gotten things done and pushed back against oppression and pushed back against tyranny and stuff like that, and shown that, hey, we're not going to take this and we're going to speak up. At the very least, we're going to get information out, we're going to speak up, we're going to say no, we're going to put our foot down and put our actions to words. So I think they can be very powerful. And the most powerful, like I said, with what we're trying to do with the evolution of revolution is really informing people and becoming more sophisticated in the mind mentally, and becoming more informed, because when you have an informed public, it's going to be very hard to enslave and oppress an informed, empowered public. So that's what we're trying to do, is strengthen the communication with the public and bring the conversation further so that we can hear from all people and become more sophisticated and really evolve the way we deal with these things. Because yes, protests can be effective, but there can be also very effective ways and different ways to protest and to say no and to say, I won't be a part of this. And that's a big part of what Siclogic is about and what we're doing with the evolution of revolution, and my whole work with the Alpha and Omega of the Soul, where I'm coming with new psychosocial models for the world to learn from. So really, I'm hitting the internet hard. I'm hitting them with music. I'm hitting them with books. I'm hitting them with knowledge and gems so that we can be stronger as a people. And ultimately, it comes to unity. All this divisiveness is what's keeping us down, and that's a big part of the protocol and the oppressor's agenda, is to keep us divided. So that's why we had to come together again with this message. You see in my works and you see throughout my life, it's very diverse, and that's why we have the revolutionary fists of all color. It's not about revolving for one color or one state or one political agenda or ideology. It's about a multitude of opinions and voices coming together, working together to say we will no longer be oppressed, and we will not take injustice for these people or those people or any of our people, because we're all brothers and sisters, and that's what it's about for me.
What do you think about Black Lives Matter as a meaning? And separately, what are your thoughts on Black Lives Matter as an organization?
As an organization, we started an organization, Black Lives Matter. I ain't get the memo. Because as far as I'm concerned, we've been organized. You feel what I'm saying? But What people don't understand is this shit is a race. What's the definition of a race? Definition of a race, right? We're in a race, black, white, Mexican, brown, Indians, Asians, it's a race. And we out to win, right? So what we don't understand is as our people, they just getting together as an organization. Nah, bro, we've been an organization. We gotta stick together, okay? And by any means necessary, we have to destroy your competition at all costs. 48 Laws of Power, that's the books that they're writing, Robert Greene, that's what they're reading. We have to study what they're studying. We have to beat them at their own game. If we can't beat them, we have to join them. You feel what I'm saying? Because they're not gonna come down the ladder to help us. It's a race. Think in your head, help your people, they're gonna help their people. Don't get mad if they help their people and talk shit about us. I don't care about that. It's a race. Come on, who gonna win? Black Lives Matter? Come on, man. All lives matter. Fuck that shit, man. I'm tired of hearing that BLM shit, man. Mental health matter. Fuck that. Fuck that. I'm tired of hearing Black Lives. Got Triple G life. Triple G matter. Siclogic matter. www. Stay Aware with Cavino the artist. That matter. Mental health matter. I'm tired of that, man. I'm tired of that just one life, man. No, bruh. The bees matter, man. What the hell y'all talking about, man? The bees, the plants, that matter, man. PLM, ELM, ecosystem. Man, don't send us out, man. I hate that. Man, they did that, man. They did that. They try to send us out. And then they got the brown community looking at me all wrong. No, I'm going to let you know what's going on. Y'all BLM. And everywhere I go, the brown looking at me like, yeah, they, nah, bro, y'all should have been saying brown and black, bro, because we the same. How the hell y'all just gonna put us out there and say Black Lives, man? Next question.
As a meaning, I definitely understand that, hey, we're here, you know. Two people can be pulled over or in court or the sentencing, I mean, everything like that. It makes sense of why, you know, we're shouting Black Lives Matter. I think we have to see our own worth, I guess is what I'm trying to say. As Black people, I feel I'm a descendant of kings and queens, so a lot of people think of slavery and that's where they think we started. And so I don't know if they really believe that Black Lives Matter or are they just looking at it as a movement. So if that answers the question. As far as the organization, again, when you start using words like organization and the politics of it all, again, it can be lost in what it was meant to be.
I am in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. And I feel like as a white person, I kind of need to stand back and just support and lift up where I can. Yeah, I don't know the organization very well myself, but I could say I'm just in support of the movement.
If the organization is called Black Lives Matter, we need to start bringing an eye to that. And I think a lot of things are occurring that are not helping people understand that Black Lives Matter. They bring a blind eye on things. So the organization, I know it's meant to be good, but like I'm saying, there's deeper issues with Black Lives Matter that I think need to be uncovered, and those are the things that need to be focused on.
Black lives should have mattered like a long time ago. In my years, I've watched it happen. I went to all Valley schools, but there was never any of the races is coming up. It's more so, it's always been there, but now it's just like everywhere. And it's Black Lives Matter is like my life matters. So if I walk out my front door and I see I want my life to matter, I have sons. I wouldn't want anything to happen to my sons. And it's bad that we as mothers, Black mothers, have to tell our sons that keep your hands on the steering wheel, don't make any sudden moves, don't do anything, don't give them a reason. So yeah, Black lives do matter.
It should mean that, you know, Black people are just as important as any other type of people, that we matter too. The movement, I think it's an important movement to highlight the injustices that Black people are experiencing. Because as a Black woman, I get pulled over by a police officer. I know I haven't committed a crime, but I'm still terrified that I might not survive the stop.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Black Lives Matter, I think that its origin has been taken out of context. I believe that when Black Lives Matter was originally formed, it was meant for exactly what it's meant for. It was to get the voices heard of people that were getting injustice. Now, I believe that people have added their own touch and twist, and we've kind of lost what we were really standing for originally. But Black Lives Matter is necessary. Black lives do matter. I understand some people feel all lives matter. But Black lives need to matter right here, right now, because it's the most suppressed race. As an organization, I'm not really sure when they created Black Lives Matter, they were really meant for it to become such a big and powerful organization. I don't know. I know when I speak Black Lives Matter, I speak primarily about the race and the cause. Everything else that's included, I think people have put their own touches on it. So we'll just leave it there.
Okay, this is an excellent segue from my prior question to where I just said it was basically all about all togetherness, oneness, unity. We're all one people. We're all planetarians. We're all part of the same universe. We're all one, essentially. So Black Lives Matter is a powerful statement because it's saying that, hey, we matter. And, you know, obviously Black people within America have been oppressed for many, many years. It's gone for centuries, since the beginning, essentially, of America. So, you know, again, you have a people stepping up and saying, we're not going to take this. We're going to stand up for our people. And, you know, these lives matter. And a lot of people in America still believe they don't matter. So this is why it's been created. And they show it, and they show it with dictates, and they show it with people getting away with, again, like we said, with the Rodney King, and who knows what's going to happen with George Floyd. And it's been countless others, obviously leading back to the beginning of chattel slavery in America. It's, you know, it's still to a point where it could be said to be systemic, because these people are protected by the badge, and they're getting away with things. And so, you know, it was a powerful statement to say that Black Lives Matter, because they do. So it's a pretty airtight argument. And then you ask about the organization. You know, that's a whole deep conversation I can't really go into right now. Again, I'm off of another 7-day fast, and we just I had a big day. I'm off of 4 hours of sleep, so if I seem a little jittery or not altogether in my conversation questions today, I'm not really all the way there. You know, we're kind of running out of time, so for me to go in a question like that, you know, obviously I run the risk of offending so many people with anything like that. Like, you know, organizations, hopefully they have good intentions, and I believe they do. And, you know, sometimes the road to hell was, you know, paved with good intentions. So, you know, we've heard a lot of things about self-proclaimed Marxists and communists, and, you know, within this agenda and this movement, which, again, that's a whole nother conversation, which we don't have a billion hours to really get into the depth of, because there's a lot of beautiful things from communism, and it's a great ideal at heart, a great intention to give the power back to the people, essentially the working class. But, you know, it's from what I have gathered, it's never really come to fruition. It's always the power has always been transferred to tyrants, and then people have been more oppressed. So, you know, these are very dangerous roads to go down. Ultimately, I would like to learn and encapsulate the greatest things that we have to learn from communism and socialism and capitalism and anarchy and libertarianism and everything else, and come up with the ultimate solution of finding the best gems from all of these, and coming up with something better than all of them. That's really where my head is at. So an organization like this, I'm sure that they're doing great things. I don't have a super depth and knowledge about the organization. It's something I want to study more. But, you know, it's a big question that I can't fully tackle at this time.
What are your thoughts on Antifa? Antifa.
Oh, bro, you gotta elaborate. You gotta talk my terminology, bro. I ain't graduated from high school, bro. I ain't get out the 9th grade. What the hell did you just say?
We can say next question.
No, what do you? I want to know what you just said. You gotta elaborate and inform me.
I'm just reading this.
Do you know what it is?
I don't.
What the hell is Antifa? Latifah. All I know is Queen Latifah and Nefertiti. All right, go ahead.
I think people have to do what they have to do. I don't believe in defunding the police entirely. I know the message. I think the meaning of it's been misconstrued over the last few months a little bit. And it doesn't mean totally defund the police. It's something different. So I think that my initial reaction to understanding a little bit about Antifa was we really have to work on our messaging so that the things that need to be heard will resonate with the people that it needs to resonate with.
At the end of the day, Antifa's not here to support me at all or to support anything that I believe in. I feel like a lot of organizations, they have another agenda. They don't have the agenda that basically to help the society. I don't think they're something good for our society.
Okay. No, I'm just kidding. My thoughts on Antifa are sometimes when people aren't heard and injustice is taking place, there needs to be different forms that step in and they do different things. So when Antifa comes in and they do whatever it is that they do, I really have nothing to say. People do what they feel fit. I don't want to go too deep into that one.
Antifa would be the exact, almost identical to the last question, because Antifa is by nature, it's anti-fascist. So, anyone who doesn't want fascism would be considered to be Antifa. So in that aspect, I would definitely say that I'm not for fascism in any way. There's things to be learned from most of these spectrums, political spectrums, and sides of the spectrum. But this is one which I don't think bears a lot of fruit. I think fascism is highly destructive and detrimental to any society or country which it undertakes. So, I would go highly for the majority of the ideology of being against fascism. And then clearly, within that name and title, there's been an umbrella which has been used to carry out many deeds, which I can't necessarily co-sign all of them. So again, that's a subject I can't really get into too much depth here because we don't have 1,000 hours to cover such a subject like that. When you have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people enacting under an ideal, which the ideal may be pure at heart, but not all of the actions of the people operating under that ideal may be enacting in a pure manner. So that's probably the best way I could answer it at this time.
Do you believe America is systemically racist?
Yes, I do believe we are systemically racist. I think this whole country has been built on racism and we need to make a change.
Hell yeah, we racist. Because if we wouldn't be racist, I just signed a piece of paper and asked me what race was I. Shit, I gotta tell them what race I am and it's a race. You better know we gonna run it and we gonna win. Yeah, bruh. And bruh, y'all count us out, bro. Y'all keep talking about Black Lives Matter and bring everybody black. That's what I keep trying to tell y'all. And I'm an artist, and I'm gonna tell y'all like this. I see a canvas, and when I paint every fucking face, I go through that olive stage, of the olive green, on a white man, on the Indian, on the black man. Everybody's black, man. I'm trying to tell you. Close your eyes, black. Open them up, blur, black. You know what I'm talking about? Black. I'm talking about black. Everything's black, man. It's just black. Yeah, so for sure, black matter. Not Black Lives Matter.
It's rhetorical, definitely. It's obvious, there's levels to this shit, and the black people have gotten the shortest end of the stick.
from my life experience and how I grew up, I would definitely have to say the odds were stacked. But it didn't change my mindset or who I wanted to become or who I wanted to be, regardless.
I absolutely believe that America is systemically racist. We have so many problems in this country, and all of our problems are systemic. So it's like a big Gordian knot that we have to somehow figure out. We have to get some really good engineers. We should invent something called like culture engineers, because we really need people to figure out how to go to the root of problems and then like unravel them. Everything's systemic.
Definitely. Hierarchies in America, all the hierarchies in America are racist. All the institutions, they're based on racism. Even the ones that we think are not, they are. It's a lot of separation. And that's the main problem with the systematic separation in America.
For the most part, yeah, because you couldn't get a job if you wore your hair a certain way, or if your name, if you had an ethnic type name that they felt, you couldn't get a job.
I don't believe that the Constitution is racist, which is, you know, with the founding of the country, but I feel that some people have positioned themselves in ways to make sure that they get more advantages than other people.
Absolutely. Even if I wanted to not believe it, it's so obvious. It's right in my face every day, every which way we look.
Okay, so America was essentially founded off of racism, right? Because we came here and we essentially decimated and genocided an entire people, and then shortly after started enslaving people, which again, enslavement was really the way that things were done back in the day with kings and queens, and we came over here with the ideology or the philosophy of freedom, but when we came, it was more so freedom for the few, not for all, and then we went straight into slavery, which turned into segregation over time, and you know, it's a whole long story. Again, we don't have a million hours to go in the history of America or the world, but that's just kind of a quick rundown, right? So it's always been built off of racism. People are always going to have natural biases, and that's something that can never be completely eradicated. In every country, you're going to have a majority and a minority, and at times the majority can use their powers to stifle and oppress and to do injustice to the minority. And surely America, as eclectic and as big of a melting pot as we are, and as far as we've come in comparison to many other countries over time, surely we have not reached the apex to where, you know, we haven't reached the summit by any means. You know, we've come a long way, but things like, again, the George Floyd and so many others exemplify how real it is and how down in the trenches we still are, and a lot of the people are still in the good old days, and there's still a lot of good old boys across this country, and we forget it sometimes when some of you might be living in a rural town, and you know, we live in the city, and we forget it. We're here in Los Angeles, one of the most diverse places in the world. So when we're walking around and things are a certain way, you know, it may not be the same in Kansas or Oklahoma or, you know, some of these other states. Things may be a little bit different. So, you know, the scales vary depending where you are. Ultimately, when you look into things like despotism, and you look into certain counties and districts and sanctions being controlled by certain people, of course, you know, they have their families in mind and their people and their allegiances in mind first before others. And, you know, America is still xenophobic and racist in so many ways that, you know, we can't cover all this again tonight. But clearly, when you have something like a Rodney King beating, or you have something like a George Floyd incident, or so many countless others, again, I'm trying to limit these as best I can, but when you have some of these still happening day by day, year by year, and you still see them, I mean, there's some big gaps in these holes. I mean, we have a constitution, but so many things are unconstitutional, and we have a justice system, but it's not perfect, and it never will be perfect, but I know it can be much better, and that's what I'm attempting to do with things like this 10,000 Voices, where we're trying to elevate the conversation, and we're trying to evolve the idea of revolution and really, evolve society together without the divisiveness. So, I'm just trying to do my part, and the divisiveness, and look to a better way, because again, it comes down to knowledge, and a lot of people are just ignorant, and some people are happy being that way. So, and they don't know their own ignorance. So, that could oftentimes be the problem. So the answer is yes and no. In theory, it's not, but in practice, clearly it is.
If you could change, eliminate, or create one law in America, what would it be?
I would make sure pedophiles get charged with the full extent and be lenient on the drug users, because I don't know why drug dealers get more than child abusers. That's crazy.
The presidents, this should be the thing. We shouldn't have one president, we should have two presidents. We should have a Democratic side, we should have a Republican side. We should have the best side from the Democrats, we should have the best side from the Republicans. You feel what I'm saying? And then guess what we should do? We should let the Democrat have their thing, and we should have the Republican have their thing. Biden say this, Trump say this. Okay, now the people vote on which one you like. Because guess what? We all serve the right to the Republic. You feel what I'm saying? So that's what I would change. Like, I would rewrite the script, fuck a law. Like, I don't abide by no damn laws. I just respect everything, man. I don't care about no law, but I would change that.
I'm kind of Old Testament, I think we should go back. I mean, it's pretty simple, you steal, you get your arm cut off. I think less people would steal. I don't know. I think we should just police ourselves in a sense. I don't know. I always hear we the people, but we're always looking to our government for a solution. I mean, I think a lot of laws should be rewritten, but I can't just say one, because it's all broken.
Constitution, rewrite it.
I think we really need to reconsider the Constitution, reconsider the amendments, and understand that everything is relative to the time that it was written during. So times change.
A person who is on drugs or who has a drug problem, that they are incarcerated, and the 3 strikes, and maybe they've done something and they go back for having an addiction, then they're locked down for life. I don't get that part. I saw it. I think they should actually go to rehab, take the monies and funds that they have, and build a rehabilitation center for those that are arrested for these crimes.
I would make it illegal for a police officer to kill somebody that is suspected of a crime that would not also warrant the death penalty. So should not escalate to where someone's being executed over a minor infraction. If it's not something that we would give someone the death penalty for, the police should not be able to execute them, period.
You know what? My husband has mentioned that maybe we should take a second look at the 3-strike law. I think that history, we've went back a couple times and we've seen that, man, we've struck some people out that may have not been able to, or shouldn't have been stricken out. Or people have been stricken out on things as small as marijuana. And even though we as a country have said, oh, let's legalize it, they're still behind bars. And come on now, America, does that sound fair? There's things where someone stole a candy bar, supposedly, but there wasn't no evidence, yet that person got struck out. Simple things. So I think we should take a second look at our 3-strike laws and what counts for these 3 strikes.
How do you feel about Trump's views and policies on the Mexican borders?
I'm 50-50. You know, we do want to regulate as many people that come over here. And if it helps kind of like the population and like the kids being kidnapped and brought over here through those borders, if it helps to stop that, then I guess it's a good thing.
Oh yeah, Trump dead on. Cause I mean, if he don't put the border up, come on, bro. Like the money, man. You gotta think, bro. Like, bro, you gotta think about it I ain't against Migo. You feel what I'm saying? Cause I'm all the way Migo with my people Migo. You know what I'm talking about? Victor Cavino, the black Migo. That's me. You know what I'm talking about? I'm connected all the way over through. I don't want to talk about that shit, but I'm trying to tell you, if he don't put it up, he ain't fighting. Cause Trump trying to get some of that money, and they saying we ain't giving you no more of that money. He said, all right, well, we're gonna build a wall. Build a wall, it's better for us. I ain't gonna get into it. Do your research. It's better for us, but it ain't gonna stop shit. Cause when you got Amigo wanna do something, by any means necessary, they gonna do it. Underground, on top of the ground, over the wall, it don't matter. So yeah, the wall helps us out.
What are his views? I mean, all I remember really is he wanted a wall, whatever that means. Trump, to me, has been, he's basically lift up the carpet. All the shit that's been swept under, everybody thinking like, oh, you know, America's this great place. Like, he showed exactly what America is. And, you know, there's so many people that think like him. So I don't really know what else to say when it comes to Trump. I mean, he's just been an eye-opener. Now I guess y'all know how us black people feel. So
I believe it's a way to say things. It's a certain level. This is just my belief. It's a certain level of how you should carry yourself and say things, especially when you're a world-class leader. I understand the reasoning behind it, but that's how I'm gonna answer that question.
Trump is just saying whatever is convenient to him in the moment, and it's pretty clear that kids don't come here alone, that they come here with their parents, or most of them at least, and that they've been separated. And now there are more than 500 kids that are without their parents, and we're unable to locate them. So I think it's inhumane, and again, that is something that really makes me feel embarrassed to be an American.
I don't care. See, the funny thing about it is I drive trucks, so I drive down to 10. There's already there's a big gate, there's a wall, you know, it's already there. So that's what I'm saying. He's talking about he wants to build it. It's been built. So there's parts where there isn't a wall, but there's parts where the wall, everybody wants the wall on both sides. The people in Mexico, they want the wall to be there. You know what I'm saying? The people in America, they want it to be there. Now what Trump's talking about, I can't take anything that he says or any of the laws or anything that he does to be factual, because I feel like he just says stuff just to say stuff. I don't think he puts any context in anything that he says. That's how I feel about what Trump says. I feel like he's just talking just to have a camera there and to be, cause a controversy. Trump's one of those people, whether it's good press or bad press, it's a good press.
I don't like the fact, as we were speaking about racial equality, the names that he calls them, you don't know them. They're still people, they're still trying to find a way, they're still trying to make a life for themselves, for their families, running away from where they are. So they come to us over here, where America, California, the land of the free, it's supposed to be the best place to do, and then you don't allow them to come over and live a better life like you. So why not? Why not? I don't understand it. Why not?
I think his view of the wall is almost laughable. His approach to deterring immigration is not helpful.
How do you feel about Trump's views and policies on the Mexican border?
No, just kidding. He raised it up right. No, you know, Trump is a complicated man. I don't think I have much respect for any of his views. But when it comes to the Mexican borders, my view is how dare you? You know, I know that Trump is a very rich man, and I know that he has used a lot of Mexican help to help build some of the things that he has. So how dare you build a border now that you're the president to keep those same people that helped you get where you're at out? How dare you want to use those same people to build that same wall? I think it's irrational. I think it's obscene. And I think that all people have the right to this country. They should have a fair shot. It's only fair. I think Trump's a sad man. Look, don't let me get on Trump. I can go forever.
Yeah, we can all go on.
Yeah, we can all go on.
The border policies, I mean, you know, again, there's arguments for both sides of any of these arguments, and I'm willing to hear all sides and come to the ultimate conclusion, really is what it's all about. So that's my answer to really any of these questions or any question of all humankind. You know, I want to hear all sides of the argument and gather as much information as possible to come up with the best answer. Can we have no borders? Should we eliminate borders? Or are borders effective, and are they being carried out properly? I mean, it's such a dangerous question. You know, I'm looking towards a better future where this question would be under a completely different context. Let's just say that. I'm looking forward to a better society, a better understanding across the quote-unquote nation, which of course nations don't truly exist. There's stuff, you know, it's a name that we made up. Borders are invisible. We create them. So these things that are not eternally true, anything that's not eternally true will eventually come to fruition or come to manifestation, and the fact that it's not a universal truth. So borders aren't universally true. You know, nations aren't, you know, these are concepts which we've created, and we enact laws and we write down things on paper which are not part of natural law, universal law. So I believe in getting back to root principles and first principles and universal law, natural law, and you know, treating thy neighbor how thou would want to be treated, and you know, karma and things like this. So I look forward to a much better future to where a question like this would be a completely different question.
Are you supporting Trump or Biden in the 2020 election? Or perhaps another option? Why?
I'm supporting Kanye West. Yeah, I don't want to vote for no other monkey. Oops, I don't go as.
I'm a future billionaire. So I'm supporting who I'm supposed to support, who supports me and my financial situation. So I'm gonna look in your face and I'm gonna tell you, Trump 220. All the fucking way. Biden don't have enough sense and enough finances in his bank account to be a leader of any kind of nation that I'm gonna be a part of. So, yes, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. Gemini's all the way. Mike Pence, Trump.
I don't believe in politics. So I don't support either. And as far as rallying us up, we've been told we're the minority when we're actually the masses. So putting somebody like Kamala Harris with Biden is, again, just using us. I don't know what the difference is going to be or if there will be any huge difference. For somebody whose father was in prison my whole life, when you talk about Kamala and Biden and some of the things they've done in the past and bills they've passed to where there's mass incarceration, they all look like Trump, if you ask me. I mean, Democratic, Republican, their kids all go to the same private schools. Behind closed doors, they're eating dinner, country clubs, all of that kind of stuff. So to me, it's all, again, divide and conquer, make us pick a side when really we don't recognize our own power as the people.
Would you rather someone walk up to you and say, hey, I'm gonna slap you, and slap you? Or would you rather someone come from behind and just slap you? Next.
Yeah, I'm supporting Biden, but I have to say that I'm really nervous that if Biden wins, then all of the people that Trump inspired to get into politics are gonna like hit the snooze button and then not be as fired up as they were, because obviously Trump got a lot of people into politics that weren't into politics before. I don't know. I mean, I also wonder that if we have Biden in for the next 4 or 8 years, then someone more ridiculous than Trump is going to come in 2028. So I am like perplexed over this election, but I'm going to vote for Biden, kind of like because I feel like I just have to.
I'm not supporting Trump and I'm not supporting Biden. I think I think Kanye West is going for president as well, so I think I'm going to be supporting him. I think he'll do either the same or either, I don't think he could do any worse than Trump. So, it's going to be just another merry-go-round. It seems like that's what we're going through nowadays. We're going through a merry-go-round, a circus. So, hey, let's put somebody else on stage.
I'm leaning towards Biden. I am not going with Trump. Some things I've listened, and I said, I agree with him on that. But it's just the way that he does things just makes me not want to have to deal with that altogether.
I wouldn't support Trump in anything. I couldn't even, if I saw Trump about to get hit by a Mack truck, I'd probably turn around and walk the other way. I don't support him in nothing he says or does. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm not supporting Trump or Biden in the 2020 election. As I said in the previous question, I'm looking forward to a better future, and I'm looking for a better leadership is ultimately what I believe we need. And a lot of people, when I say leadership, they get scared and they think that I'm talking about oppressor, which I'm not talking about oppressor or even quote unquote authority. I'm talking about a theoretical leader. I'm talking about someone that leads with the mind and leads with their actions and doesn't necessarily have to force anybody to do anything, and leads by their actions and leads by information. So I'm trying to help elevate the conversation and lead by example and lead with information, because we're in an informational war, and I want us to win the war. We the people, all of us as one, come up stronger and better. And clearly the way we've been doing things, it's dying, it's going to die, it's all systems that have been tried and they may have carried a purpose and brought us to where we are, and here we are in the 21st century, and we have iPhones and satellites and rocket ships and this and that, and we've come so far. But if we don't figure out something soon, we're going to explode, or rather implode. And I think it's I'm definitely not giving into this oppressive system of illusionary authority by any means. So that's what we're doing with the evolution of revolution, and we're trying to that's what I'm doing with my next book that I'm writing right now, The Last Chance for Humanity, where we're coming up with real ways that we can avoid tyrants and derelicts and charlatans like our current politicians and current quote-unquote leaders and authority, because almost all of them are corrupt in a way that's deplorable, and it's going to bring us to our ultimate demise if we don't change our ways soon. And I don't mean to give them all the responsibility. When I say change our ways, I mean all of us. We all need to change, and we all need to stop accepting this bullshit, or it's going to continue. It's going to continue. So no, I don't support that.
What are your thoughts on the state of the economy currently, and how has 2020 affected you personally?
Actually, it hasn't affected me that much. I've been working more now, and just being my own boss and not working for no one else, it's just made me step up my game more and know that you can't depend on nobody, and you have to work for yourself and go out and achieve your goals and your dreams.
2020 has just shown just how much of a capitalistic state America is in. Everything is about the dollar. They don't really care. If COVID is so dangerous, the fact that I still have to go to work and be in contact, my company is not a necessity. I'm not an essential worker.
Rich get rich and the poor get poorer.
I kind of feel like Biden's gonna win, and then Trump's gonna say the election was rigged. But in reality, Trump doesn't really want to win deep down, or not really deep down, just like, behind closed doors, because there's clearly going to be a recession and he wants to blame Biden for it. So that's kind of what always happens, right? Like, the incoming president has to deal with the mess that was made prior, and everything ebbs and flows. So, so does the economy. But and unfortunately, I think the economy has been the biggest driver for so many Republican votes. Some Republicans that I really actually do respect, but they just have to make certain decisions because they have a lot of money and care about keeping their money.
To be honest with you, I'm a truck driver, so I'm a contractor, and due to 2020, my contracts they've gotten better. Like there's a lot more contracts that are out there, and I'm able to pick and choose my contracts. So to me, when the economy's in a downturn, for the hustler, there can't be a downturn in the economy. You're gonna take anything that's going on, and you're going to basically capitalize off of it. This is capitalism, so I use that to my advantage when it comes down to the economy.
I don't know, I feel like it's really testing people. It's testing the business owners to see how much hustle they have in them. Are you gonna fight to keep your business open? Are you gonna figure out how to keep it open? And I feel that the economy is gonna make room for a lot of new rich people. I think a lot of people that had a good thing going before COVID and they couldn't maintain it, by that being changed, we got opportunities for a lot of new people to invest in their ideas and spend their time investing and creating their own things. And this is going to definitely making a lot more entrepreneurs.
We haven't really felt the impact of the downward spiral of the economy and the COVID, but we do know a lot of people that have.
Okay, the state of the economy is becoming extremely rocky. Again, the rich are becoming richer, the poor are becoming poorer, just like over time. And that's where, a lot of these things start to look like agendas, when certain people benefit and the poor just keep getting more poor and more oppressed. And, freedoms that have sparked up are just as quickly dying. So, oh boy, the economy, I think it's in trouble. We hit a big one with shutting down of all the businesses, with COVID-19, and then after that we had riots flood through America and other countries, and we hear sirens around. It's Los Angeles, stuff's going on all the time. So I think the way that we conduct commerce and our economy currently is just, like I said in the last question, it's a system that it's brought us certain fruit, and I think those fruits are getting rotten, and I think the ship will sink, and we'll look for better ideas, better thinking, better days.
think censorship is getting out of control. We need freedom of speech. We need to let the people know the truth, so I'm with freedom of speech, no censorship.
Censorship is getting out of control. I feel like if you can say it, say it. I mean, excuse yourself if you made a mistake, but you wanted to say it. Don't go to the grave like, stop, like, they're already putting a muzzle on our mouth, and you're gonna go inside our soul, into our head and control that too. Are we in jail or what? No, this is the land of the free, the home of the brave. We're supposed to have the right to freedom of speech. Let us talk.
When we're talking about children, there should be some shit that should be censored. Right now, you know, kids are exposed to so much more now that it's not fair to me. But I mean, as far as adults, yeah, you should be able to say what you need to say, but be respectful.
Free speech is free speech. If you're gonna have it, let's have it. If we're not, let's censor. Let's censor it. And then let's all put on the same clothing, and let's all eat the same slop, and let's all believe the same, have the same beliefs. Oh yeah, they have a name for that. It's called communism.
I think that we either have free speech or we don't. And we're in a gray area right now that makes it feel like at times we're living in 1984, in George Orwell's 1984, and at times it actually does feel like we're in a free country. I think that's a systemic issue too. That's deeply wound up in the purpose of capitalism. Again, I think we need some like culture engineers to undo this Gordian knot somehow, but everything is systemic.
Censorship is definitely getting out of control, because when it's free speech, censorship, they don't go hand in hand. If we are a country of free speech, then everybody should be able to say whatever they want to say, you know? There's consequences for everything. But there shouldn't be a censorship. People should be able to say what they want to say. And then they could back it, say, oh, I didn't mean that later on, I guess. But you should be able to say what you want to say. No censorship.
We all have an opinion. We all have a voice. And our voices should be heard. How do we get anything done or anything? I've always been taught that a closed mouth don't get fed. So if you don't speak up, you don't get results. So I've always been one. I'm an outspoken person. So you need to speak up, don't be silent, and say what you have to say, regardless if you think it's going to be a retaliation. I know we try to keep ourselves in one lane, but you have to speak out.
I think it depends on who you are. I think that when you're held at a certain stature, such as the presidency, you might want to kind of edit some of your free speech. But when you're someone like me, I think free speech is essential. You should be allowed to say certain things. What possibly could harm?
Free speech, I'm huge on free speech when it doesn't come to defaming or robbing anybody of their rights, and to where it doesn't come to a call to action or call to violence. I'm all for free speech and having a sophisticated adult conversation about any given subject when it doesn't take away from anybody else. So I'm huge on free speech. That's another big subject. You can look into my work and get a much more broad answer, a much more in-depth answer from. But I'm a big free speech advocate. I think it's being threatened, you know, now in a way that we haven't seen for decades. I think it's under attack. I think people are, you know, it's becoming infiltrated to the technocrats and the rulers of technology, who will essentially be spoon-feeding you what you need to say and what you need to believe. As we've seen in so many laws in America recently and other countries, they're going to be telling us what you have to believe if we don't make a serious change very, very fast, because people are being cut out of the conversation, and that's your big old warning sign and red flag that tyranny is on its way. When people are being silenced and censored and saying, oh, we can't hear anything that this person has to say, or if anybody who says this or says anything against your rulers or your authority, they need to be silenced. That's when you know tyranny is underway and you are on a one-way ticket to systematic oppression and tyranny.
do you feel about Elon Musk, Neuralink, SpaceX, colonizing Mars, Tesla, AI, super AI, or humans being microchipped?
How I feel about Elon Musk colonizing Mars and putting money on all these AI. Man, we have so much people starving on the streets and filth. That money should be used for cleaning up our country instead of some galactic outer space things. That's how I feel about that.
Hey, look, Elon Musk is a must. I love him. I love Elon Musk, and I'm with Elon Musk, and I own Tesla. You know, I love Elon Musk. So a chip, yes. I feel like my kids need a chip. I want a chip. I keep telling my girl, put a chip in me. You need a chip. We all need chips. Yes, we need chips. You put a chip in your dog, don't you? Yes. Space? Yes. Research? Yes. Elon Musk? Yes, it's a must. It's a go. Green, go green. Go green.
People should be able to choose. You know, if people want to go to Mars and live on Mars, let them choose that. Don't force anybody. Don't force anybody to stay. Let everybody pick and choose what they want to do. I think that's what would be better for our society. If there has to be a microchip inside somebody, I say it should be in pedophiles. All pedophiles should have a microchip. We should know where they're at all times.
No, that's inhumane to me, and that should not happen. We're not animals to where we need microchips or any type of thing like that to be put inside of us.
I don't know. I really haven't given it too much thought about humans being microchipped. I remember at one point, humans didn't want to get vaccines, and now look at us. In order for kids to go to school, we're vaccinating them up. So maybe 10 years from now, we'll understand the importance of it. I think we're lacking a little bit of knowledge. I think it sounds scary because it's something new. So maybe with a little more information, I'll be comfortable with it. But as of right now, it's kind of still in the air. I don't know if I want to be microchipped yet.
That's another huge question, which again, I can't answer fully tonight. I would urge you to look in my work. Siclogic is my pen name. My book is Alpha and Omega of the Soul, a holistic exploration of consciousness. That's my book, and I just did a series over 100 videos tackling subjects like this. I'm gonna just make it very, very quick for the people at home today. Technology is taking over. Technology is rapidly outpacing our morale and our sophistication of philosophy and psychology, and more so our ethics and morals. So as technology surpasses our ethics and our morality and takes over, and the people behind technology take over, you know, we're going to see very, very dark days coming ahead very, very soon if we don't find a way to bring what's in the dark into the light and make global conversations like this 10,000 Voices, where everyone's invited to the table, and it's not just these private think tanks. That's one of my big things that I'm talking about in my book, is public think tanks, and how we're all a part of the conversation. We're all a piece of the puzzle, so we can all see the big picture. And the technology, it's taking off. I mean, literally they want to colonize Mars and put chips in your brain and start pushing buttons and, you know, and merging with AI. So this is a huge, huge subject, and I will do a lot of work on this in the future. I can promise you that. So I can just say, look, go Siclogic, Siclogic on your search engine, DuckDuckGo, etc., and find out more about the material and my opinions about this, because we can't really get into full depth on that right now.
Is there anything else you would like to add to this discussion?
Everybody has to do their research and know where they stand. Don't just believe the news or the media. Do your own damn research.
At the end of the day, God is love, and that, you know, as people, we do need to embrace being different, learn from each other, you know, and be willing to have the conversations with one another. They say we're like integrated, but if you think about it, there is still a certain degree of segregation. Everybody sticks to what they know, and fear or judge those they don't.
No, I think I said enough. A lot, actually.
No, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for asking these questions. They're really good questions.
Today has been very interesting for me. The questioning, I appreciate it, and I appreciate letting my voice be heard.
I would like to thank Gary Graves for, giving me, my family, an outlet to come out and to speak. I hope he does great in whatever it is he does. He's an awesome dude. I hope that this reaches the 10,000 voices, 10,000 households, 10,000 people, and I hope that this video helps make a change that is much needed.
Yes, thank you for being a part of the 10,000 Voices documentary. I hope you check out the video. I hope you love it and enjoy it, and know that I have a lot of great music and material coming for you, and a lot of great video, documentary material and vlog material coming for you, which, I talk probably longer than other people on these, but these, I'm over here, like I'm on 4 hours of sleep, worked to the bone, haven't eaten really anything more than a salad in the last week. You can learn about the master cleanse and how I did that in my book breakdown series. But I want to thank you for being a part of this and for watching it to the end, and with a mindful eye, and from learning and being a part of the conversation. So this has been really dope. It's been a time like any other, and it's been a time unlike any other, and I really enjoyed it, and much love. At the end of the day, it all comes down to love and the oneness. So I have mad love for everyone, and hopefully that can be interpreted in the way that it makes sense most to you.
Hello, my name is James Ingram, aka J.I. I'm a reparations advocate for descendants of those who have been enslaved or have faced discrimination because of racism throughout the history of this country. But today I am not here actually to talk about that. I'm here to talk about what the George Floyd incident had got me thinking. Now, there is something called Human Development Index, or HDI for short, which is a statistic composite index of life expectancy, education, and income per capita. Now, the reason the George Floyd incident had got me thinking about this was, I believe the reason he was approached by the police in the first place was because of a counterfeit bill or something like that. Now, I'm not here to actually, debate whether or not that's true or false. But I do want to point out those who are in poverty, those who do not have a steady stream of income, those who may not be in a position to love themselves, because I do believe that there is an argument that could be made that there's a correlation between financial literacy and HDI, or a correlation between self-love and HDI. What am I getting at? Okay, now if you ask an individual, do you know math? More than likely they'll say yes. And then you'll ask them, how or why do you know math? Sorry, I'm outside. But you ask them, how or why do you know math? And they'll say, well, I learned it in school. And you're like, okay. And then you ask them, do you know how to write an essay? If they've been to school, more than likely they'll say, yeah, I know how to write an essay. How do you know how to write an essay? Well, because I learned it in school, right? Then you can ask them, well, what about improving your credit? Do you know anything about that? A lot of people will say no. One of the main reasons is because they do not learn that in school. Now, when we go from high school to college, we take out student loans. And in fact, we are encouraged to take out these student loans without even knowing what unsubsidized or subsidized means. Some of these colleges will give you a 15 to 30 minute breakdown on what it means to take out a loan, but that is clearly not enough time spent on the education of taking out a loan and what that means for your credit. There is also the aspect of self-love. Now you ask yourself, or you ask another person, what do you love about yourself the most? Most people cannot answer that question immediately. But if you ask a person 20 plus 20 or whatever, they'd be able to answer that question immediately. So I think that if we not only had a course or a curriculum that covered financial literacy, meaning how to balance a budget, what does improving your credit score actually look like? What do you have to do to do that? And also a course that talks about, self-love. Determining whether or not you like things about yourself, like more things about yourself or less things about yourself. What do you like? What are the top 5 things you like about yourself? What are the top 5 things that you don't like about yourself? What are some things you can improve on? And we focused on this because you think about it, we got science class, geography, social studies, math, gym, but none of those things pertain to focusing on us and improving our lives after graduation. So when I say there is a correlation between HDI and financial literacy, or there is a correlation between HDI and self-love, I'm not here to say that I know, but I am here to say we should at least try that. We spend all this time in school, and while we are in school, none of that time goes to ourselves. Last thing I'm going to touch on is the idea of preventative measures, or tackling the symptomatic, the symptoms. So you got risk management, crisis management, preventative measures or cures, health. We do not encourage people enough to strive to live a more healthy life. We encourage people to get health care in case they're sick. So I think we should start focusing on preventing individuals to get sick and focus more. We should focus on preventing people not getting sick instead of focusing on what happens when you get sick. I do think they both are important, but we are neglecting, I believe, the most important, which is the preventative measure, or as I mentioned earlier, risk management. So these are the things that I think America needs to think about when considering how to improve the well-being of life for Americans. Again, my name is James Ingram, and this has been my message to America. Peace.
This message is for all the children who are under the care of the Department of Child Family Services and the juvenile court systems all over the world and America. My son is one of those children, and I'd like to represent that we need to stand up for them who feel like harming themselves or hurting themselves or killing themselves, or however you want to phrase it, because under the care of these people, they have gotten to be that way. And I would like to send a message out that we need to free them from this mental traumatization that they're going through and help support rehabilitating them into getting back into life instead of ending their lives. Thank you very much. Siclogic for life. Love y'all.